Welcome to Below the Surface, the podcast where we go beyond the small talk and dive deep into the conversations that matter.
From personal growth to the complexities of human behaviour, we explore the stories, ideas and experiences that shape our world without the fluff.
Expect raw, thought-provoking discussions with fascinating guests and plenty of insights to challenge the way that you think.
So if you're ready to look below the surface, you're in the right place.
Let's get into it. So who is Shauna Diamond?
It depends on the day of the week, I think.
Who is she today?
Shauna is firstly a very proud wife, a sister. I think family is the most important thing to me. I have 3 little dogs, so I call myself one of those annoying dog moms. Don't have any children. I'm quite a resilient person. I think I've been through a lot and it's shaped me into a kind of confident sometimes, but also very anxious other times. That may not come across to people, but I am really passionate about speaking out for people, an advocate. So that's kind of, I suppose, things that I enjoy to do is traveling. I just would love to hop on a plane and go anywhere. I don't have the fanciest car. I don't have the newest phone. The phone is full of cracks. But what I do put my money into is actually experiences and traveling a lot. What else? Yeah, I just love training. So that's my kind of go-to is being active, getting out and about, throwing a few barbells around. And that's me kind of summed up, really. Yeah.
Brilliant. So tell us about your early years growing up. You said there, you've been through some tough times, and off air you were saying about how our younger years shape who we become. So tell us a bit more about that.
Yeah, I definitely think that your childhood definitely shapes you into who you are. People might know that I actually wasn't born in Westport, so was actually born in London. I'm a sibling. I have five other siblings, and we would have moved back to Ireland when I was 2. So my parents would have separated. So like most parents, they moved over to England during the 80s recession, and yes, the marriage broke down. And I remember coming back to Westport and starting school, and we were the only children in the school whose parents weren't together. So already we were different. And I remember thinking back, they'd send you out your school reports and they would never acknowledge that my mum was a single mother. So they'd always put my father's name on everything.
So did he stay in London?
Yes,
And your mum
My mum came back, so she
Were
came
they
back.
both from here?
Yeah, my mum is from Castlebar, was from Castlebar, and my dad is from Ballina. I don't actually like even saying the word dad because I don't have a relationship with them at all.
Have you? You've never?
No, there's maybe been once or twice. But when I was very young. So yeah. So they were married for 11 years, happily married for a number of those years, but obviously then it just broke down. So divorce was illegal in Ireland back then as well. So we were coming to school, and it was a Catholic school. So they did not want to acknowledge that the relationship obviously was not there.
Really?
So
Where did you go to national school?
St. Pat's here in Westport. Yeah. So it was just different times then, so we were the kids obviously. And I remember children saying to me, "You have no dad." And I remember my mum teaching us to always say, "Well, everyone has a father," so that's what we used to say. But anyways, yes, I felt like we were always kind of a little bit different. Now, if you were to go to school nowadays, sure, you're different if your parents are still together. Times have changed. Yeah. But my mother really instilled in us a real confidence about, just being who you are and being proud of who you are and just being strong. Especially, I have 3 sisters, just being really strong, independent women. So that kind of was our childhood, so we were a little bit different, but it never impacted me, if I'm honest. It kind of forged us to being who we are today.
So how many was there when your mum took you home from London? How many did she take home?
5 kids on her own.
Wow.
Yeah. So I'm thinking back, I'm older than what she was then. So I think she would have been 32. She took 5 children home on her own. Yeah. So she just was my idol, really, to be honest. I don't know how. I can barely manage 3 dogs. Never mind 5 children on her own, So she came back and she met a new partner here in Ireland then again, which was great, but yeah. So
So you mentioned there that you know you were obviously different at that time because you didn't have they were saying you didn't have a dad,
Yeah.
and that it didn't impact you. So how did you deal with if it didn't impact you? Like how did you deal with those comments or anything that was being said to you? Did you just kind of like let them in one ear and out the other, or how did it manifest for you?
It probably did manifest in ways that I didn't really understand as a child. So like I would have thrown myself straight into like athletics and just being physically active and just, I don't know, burning off energy. And maybe I was a bit of an anxious child, but back then you didn't know that children were anxious. So they were hyperactive or they were this and that. So maybe it did manifest that way, but I didn't walk around sad saying I have no dad.
Yes,
you know,
yeah.
I actually was like, well, I have an incredible mother, you know, and I have
Yeah.
amazing siblings and they're everything, you know. So
So when you said there about your mother instilling into you and your two sisters about being an independent woman, what does that look like?
I think she just always kind of backed us, you know. So anything we wanted to do, she believed in us. So like, you know, it was always saying you can be whatever you want, you know, you just have to put in the hard work and the determination. And I remember even she passed away a couple of years ago, my friend saying to me, Shauna, your mum even believed in me. Like I didn't have that from my mother, but your mother used to just really build us up.
Where do you think she got that from?
I think just from going through hard times, probably herself, you know, and thinking, God, I don't want my daughters to go through what I've been through.
So would she have had that belief from her parents or the opposite?
I would say the opposite.
Okay.
Yes. And I know that for a fact because when she was quite unwell, she told me, you know, my mum never showed me love. But I think that was a common thing for that generation, that people didn't show their children love.
They didn't know how to, I don't think.
No.
Yeah.
And
So she was able to break that cycle.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. She definitely was. So, yeah, I think they just had so many kids as well. So, like, it was nearly impossible to show all the kids love. Whereas, you know, my mother definitely was a very affectionate mother, thankfully. Yeah.
Lovely. So you were into sport from a young age.
Yeah. So, as I said, like, I was the child that was tumbling around the house, watching TV upside down, like, so much energy to burn that I think they were like, we need to get her into something. And for some reason, I never got into the GAA, so it was athletics. So Westport Athletics Club, absolutely incredible. I started, I'd say, 7 years old. If not, I could have been a little bit younger. And I was training 3-4 times a week. So from a very young age, I was down the track, running around and just kind of burning off energy. And then going to competitions and
Was
and
there
all
any
of that.
specific, what's the word I'm looking for? Category that you were in, or?
Yeah, like I would have loved, like I'm short, so there was never going to be a high jumper
I was
in
about
me.
to say you were into the high jump.
So I used to love the 200, I did the 800, the 1500 and the long jump. Yeah, so I would have done that all the way up until leaving cert really. And I would have done a lot of competitions, Connachts, All-Irelands, never got an All-Ireland medal because I just didn't have the self-belief. Every time it came to a big competition, I just didn't believe I was good enough, which was such a shame because I've so many Connacht medals and Mayo medals, but it just, when the big events came, for some reason I used to just really get into my head and I'd have myself talked out of that race before I even lined up. And I don't know why. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, like if you get into your head at all, it's very hard to get yourself back out.
Yeah.
Especially before an event like that.
Yeah. So, but look, it was, I enjoyed the process. Even just getting there was
Yeah.
the enjoyment. And like there was a great group of girls that we would have had a relay team. And like, we just enjoyed the training really. But when it came to the big events, I felt I always let myself down. And when I felt like I let myself down, I felt like I let my parents down as well. You know, that kind of
It's
way.
mad too. Like we put so much importance on a particular event when it's the same. That's the same as any other race. Like same as all your Connacht races.
Yeah.
Except it's just named differently, and we just put that pressure on.
Yeah.
It's
And the times, you would be tracking your times, you know, down at the Westport track. And like you'd be then after the All-Irelands looking at me like, if I just ran the times that I've ran before, but like shoulda, woulda, coulda. You know, you could be saying that for everything. And it's all about performing on the day. And sometimes just the big events, I just crumbled really. And I didn't do crap, but like I never got a medal, and that really annoys me.
What's your belief like in yourself now? Has it improved over the years?
Yeah, it depends on what it is. So like I'd say people think, oh my God, Shauna is a very confident person. And it really just depends on the situation. So like I can come across as really confident and inside I'm absolutely dying. But in terms of sports and fitness, now I definitely believe in myself. Like I've done a couple of things since then, and I've, put in the hard work and reaped the rewards. So yeah, but it just depends on the event. Yeah.
So how did you build that sense of confidence in that aspect where you feel confident? What was it that gave you that trust in yourself that, okay, I can do this?
I honestly think it was Andrew, so my husband. Yeah, so when I met Andrew, I'd say I didn't have any confidence really in myself and my abilities. And he just always has my back. It was bizarre. I'd never been with anyone like that before. And whenever I put myself, like I've done some mad things like white collar boxing, he's like, go on, like, he's probably thinking, what is she doing? Yeah. But he'll never say that to me. He'd be like, we're going to do this training together and you're going to succeed. And I think he really just built me up as a person to the point now where I'm just really confident and happy in myself. Yeah.
So before we came on air here, you were saying that, what was the word you used? Maybe that you're... What did she say? Can you remember, Gavin? Gavin hates when I throw him in the deep end here when I mention his name on the podcast.
What did I say?
You said that not that you're a closed book, but that you're private.
Yeah, I think so.
You're an extrovert, but you're an introvert. Did you say that?
Yeah,
no, that was the thing.
No, and I think that's me as well. I think, is there like the middle ground as well?
Yeah.
So
tell us, all privacy is now being exposed. What is something that maybe people might not know about you that plays an important role into the woman you are today?
God, I don't know. That is a really, really tough question. I don't actually know. As I said, like I think growing up as a teenager, I had a certain attachment style. So like I was like the anxious attached person, whereas now I'm more kind of like that confident, secure attachment. But I don't think people would, if they knew me now, that, like say you've only met me in the last couple of years, you'd have never known that I would have gone through all that kind of self-doubt, that clinging on to relationships that really didn't serve me well because my own self-worth was down in the ground. Whereas now, as I said, like I'm the happiest I've ever been. And I think, that if you only met me in the last few years, you'd have never known that. So I think that has really shaped who I am now.
Yeah. So if we talk about the anxious attachment, because it's very good that you're aware that that's...
Oh, I'm aware.
You're aware. Ding, ding, ding.
Yeah.
But a lot of people aren't aware of their tendencies. So if we think about an anxious attachment style, where did that come? Because that comes from somewhere. You don't just pick that up out of the thin air, like.
100%.
So do you think, this is me just, my own brain now, do you think this is to do with the separation of your parents?
100%. Yeah. So obviously I had said to you there that I wouldn't have any relationship with my father. So that really does impact a child. So any relationship that I would have formed in my teenage years, I always in the back of my mind was like, they're going to leave me.
And this is friendship as well as...
Yeah.
But all types of relationships.
Mostly relationships as in like romantic
okay.
relationships that I would have been in. So I think I'm only aware of that now in my later years, but when I reflect back, that's what I was holding on to. Like if the relationship was so toxic, and I'm not blaming that person, sometimes it was me as well.
Yes, yeah.
That like I just couldn't leave. I could not leave because that was, or they couldn't, or I didn't want them to leave either. Even if they were the worst person in the world, it was because it was another abandonment. So I would have had abandonment issues.
And when you found Andrew then, and like he was completely different to anyone that you would have been in a relationship, like were you doubting yourself like that? Were you trying to like sabotage it or
100%?
because it didn't feel it felt different. Like,
what's the catch?
Yeah.
But had you done personal work before meeting Andrew, or was it Andrew showed you what a secure relationship is like?
I hadn't done any work at all, to be honest. Yeah, no. And Andrew was probably one of the most confident men you'll ever meet. And there was no insecurity with him. He was confident in himself and in us. And that's all I needed then. There was no like worries.
And how long did it take you to come around to, like, this guy actually wants the best for me and he's not going to leave? And
yeah, I'd say, like, you know, I knew fairly quickly he was kind of into me, but then I was thinking, well, you could be into me and gone in a few months. So I think it was probably the first year or two even. In the back of my mind, I used to be a little bit insecure, but he'd always reassure me, you know. So, and then now it's just like obviously we're married, so I should feel like this, but you know, we're 13 years together. We're only married a few years. So I think, I'm very secure now, thankfully. And yeah, I've done work over the years, but not based on other things that have happened to me. And I think maybe that's just helped as well. Yeah.
Is there anything there you want to share?
Yeah, like I suppose, like when my mum passed away, I would have waited a while, because I just think you shouldn't jump into counselling when you're like thick in grief, and like grief is absolutely devastating. And it was the hardest thing I've ever gone through in my life. But I met an incredible woman. It was weird. Do you ever think you meet people when you're supposed to?
Yes.
Yeah.
So it's weird the way the universe, I'm one of those, the universe works.
Yeah.
But it was during COVID, and my mum had just passed away, so you weren't allowed to go anywhere, you weren't allowed to do anything. And I started CrossFit just down the road, and this other girl came, and she had actually, I didn't know anyone who'd lost their mother, so nobody could really relate to what I was going through. And I couldn't come home because I was living in Galway, and you weren't allowed to travel, so even seeing my siblings and everything wasn't allowed.
So had your mother passed away during COVID?
Yeah, my mum passed in 2020, yeah.
Was she sick for long? Was it sudden, or was she sick for...
No, it was, she was sick for about, it was about 14 months. So she got diagnosed with stage 4 cancer the year previous. And that was 2019, and she went through all the treatment, the chemo, radiotherapy, and was doing pretty good. And in the January, she got, you don't get the all clear because it's stage 4, but they're like, you're doing good. And then her scans and all were due in the March, or I think it was March or April, but COVID kicked off and they cancelled everything. So she was told to stay at home, for none of us to go near her. And basically all her scans and checks were cancelled.
So you weren't allowed to see your mother?
No. Yeah. So, and I was meant to be getting married that year as well. So I was one of those whose wedding was cancelled. But to be honest, we didn't really care. We're like, whatever. She got pretty unwell then. My sister was like, it's definitely gone to her brain. And we begged, like my sister begged and begged. And eventually they gave in and were like, okay, bring her in. And it had gone to her brain. And they were like, she has a couple of months, and she passed away within 6 weeks, I think. So, yeah. So it was horrific, to be honest.
So how was that, not being able to see?
Well, when we knew that she had, like, it had gone to her brain, we pretty much said, well, fuck you. Like,
you don't care.
I don't really care. So I was travelling up and down, and so we got to spend some time with her. But I think one of the things that really bothers me is that she had so many plans to do things, but she always put it on the long finger. And even when she was really unwell, she's like, oh, I want to go to Clare, and let's get to, all of us go away to Clare, because she weren't allowed to travel abroad. And like, she didn't even get to do that in the end. Like, she didn't get to go anywhere. She just really went downhill quickly.
And what age was she?
60.
60. Oh gosh.
Yeah.
Still very young.
Yeah. Very young. Yeah. So cigarettes, smoke and lung cancer it was. Yeah.
Was it?
So yeah. And related to cigarettes. I've gone off in a bit of a tangent
That's
here.
Okay.
Like,
That's okay.
Yeah, so it was during COVID, and it was just the most bizarre time ever for someone to pass away. So we were allowed people in the house. Well, I don't actually know if we were allowed, but there was a heap of people in the house for the wake. The house was jammed, and then obviously I think it was the August bank holiday, and the funeral was on. There was a little bit of reprieve at one point where some amount of people were allowed gather together. It wasn't when there was a couple. So there was a lot of people in the church, and then outside the church then there was loads of people. So yeah, it was just a really dark time to be grieving, really. So I was living in Galway then, and Andrew used to work the evenings. So I literally was on my own the whole time. He'd come home then late at night. So we lived in the countryside in Galway as well. So it wasn't like I could nip out and meet a friend. But I met this person, this woman. This is why I've gone around the houses here to tell you this. Yeah. I met this girl who had lost her mother to suicide 10 years previously. And she was the only person I had ever met who had lost their mum. She came into my life at the right time. And she really like helped me through some of the darkest times. But she recommended this woman, and it was a counsellor, but also did bioenergy healing. I don't know if you've ever done it before.
I have, yeah.
But so I said I'd give it a try. My grief kind of manifested in pain. So although I wasn't very emotional, crying all the time, my whole body was in absolute bits. You know, like the body holds the score. And I couldn't walk, actually. My back was in bits and my leg was trailing. I know it sounds so bizarre. But anyways, the bioenergy healer, and she did counselling with me as well, was like, you're grieving, like you're in pain because you're so hurt over everything.
Were you trying to suppress your emotions, or were you in tune with your emotions up to this point, or would you let yourself feel emotions, or how were you in touch with that?
Yeah, like I would, like I wouldn't hold back crying at all. If I need to cry, I'm crying, like, but I hadn't really, like, Andrew was amazing. He would support me, but as I said, I couldn't see my siblings or anything like that. So it just felt like the grief was just different.
Yes.
But also I feel like I'm one in the family. Like I know everyone has their roles in the family, and I feel like I was the one who tried to keep everyone strong. So by not kind of being sad around them or being like the voice of reason, I actually manifested the grief in full-blown pain. Yeah.
So you went did you have to do many sessions of bioenergy, or and it was like talk therapy as well?
It was talk therapy as well. And I also, she did this other kind of therapy. I can't think of the name of it, but it's listening to certain sounds and giving yourself affirmations as well. But yeah, it was probably about 6 sessions, but it's not like, okay, I'll see you in a week's time. It's like, you don't need to come for another month. You don't need to come for 6 weeks. So it's very specialized to the person.
Yeah.
And it was transformative for me, to be honest. My pain completely left.
Wow.
Yeah. So it was just, miraculous, really.
Apart from losing the physical pain, did you feel different after releasing the grief? Yeah,
definitely. Well, firstly, if you've ever done bioenergy healing, it's afterwards, it's unbelievably draining. But so you're exhausted, but you're also crying and getting everything out. But yeah, I felt lighter. But I didn't rush into this. This was probably close to a year, maybe not as much as a year, to after Mum passing. So I waited. I couldn't go anyways. COVID was still going on and all of the above. But
did you have any skepticism to the bioenergy, or were you completely open to it straight away?
I was completely open to it because, as I said, my friend had lost her mum to suicide, and we're kind of very aligned in how we think in that. And she said this was the only thing that helped me. So I was like, well,
you were trusting.
I trusted her. Yeah. So yeah, I found it really amazing, and I would recommend anyone to, if you're feeling a niggle or something and you've gone to a physio or gone, to the doctor and that, but you're not getting the relief that you need. Maybe, I'm open to alternative therapies 100%. Yeah.
And do you still have a relationship with that lady now, the girl that you met?
The girl who lost her mum.
The friend, yes, yeah.
Oh, we are joined to the hip. Yeah.
So she lives in Galway, does she?
She lives in Galway, yeah. And she just was incredible and still is. Yeah, very, very good friend. But it's just bizarre the way we met, at the CrossFit. And she said to me, oh, actually, I've just moved down the road from you. Where are you living, because she left Galway City because of COVID. She had to move back home, and home was really close to my house where I was living. And she was like, let's just go for a walk. So we walked and walked. There was the 2K loop. You're running.
And then it went to expand it to 5K.
Yeah. We walked the legs off ourselves. And I had actually a little dog, just one dog at the time. So the three of us, because Andrew would be working, we'd be walking everywhere, and we like fast tracked our relationship, our friendship. Like, I got to know her very quickly. So, and then
but sometimes when you meet the right person, it happens very quickly like that, doesn't it?
Yeah. So, God, I'd be lost without her still. Yeah. So it's funny how people come into your life, bang, when you need them.
Yeah.
But also people leave also.
Yes.
When you need them to too. It's funny, isn't it?
The right people. Yeah. You don't serve me anymore. Yeah. So tell us about your professional career then, because as briefly, I know that you work in like mental health and that side of things.
Yeah.
So do you want to tell us a bit more about that?
Yeah, so I work with the Family Resource Centre programme. So my background would have been health promotion and public health. I actually wanted to be a PE teacher, but I didn't get the points in the CAO. I know people doing their leaving cert now. I'm like, you're not going to end up being what you want to be. And that's okay. So I did that. And I ended up doing a master's as well in community development. So community development and public health are really kind of intertwined. It's about building people up and help themselves rather than doing it for them.
Well, what was the intention going into that? So you wanted to be a PE teacher, didn't get the points. What was the intention behind this is what I'll go into?
So it was a degree in physiology and health promotion. So I thought, okay, if I do a couple of years of this, I can still go on and be a PE teacher. But as I went on through the years of college, I was like, I do not want to be a PE teacher.
No.
I could not be tolerating teenagers. I don't have the patience for it. So what was I thinking? But I just loved the sports side of it. And like back then, there wasn't really many avenues. So it was like, oh, PE teacher seemed like the right thing. But actually, it wasn't for me. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's how I ended up there. And then sure, you meander and go all over the shop. And I'm now, working for the Family Resource Centre programme. So, for people who don't know it, I don't know if you're familiar with it. Are you?
Well, not the programme. All I know is there's the Family Resource Centre here in town.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I feel like it's just there and we don't really know much about what goes on there.
Yeah. So I would work nationally for them, and there's 121 of them around the country. Basically, they offer all types of supports across the life course. So from a young age right up to very old age. And it depends on what's the need in that community. So yes, there's one in Westport, and I would have done my placement here when I was in college in Westport.
Right.
Yeah, so it always comes full circle.
Yeah.
I work with them nationally, and for 7 years I was the mental health program lead. So we have many different programs, some around suicide prevention. So we'd work with the HSE, the National Office for Suicide Prevention, and deliver training programs to family resource centres so that they can kind of identify the warning signs of people who may be coming in and then be able to support them and signpost them to the supports that they need. Then we have like therapeutic support. So there's like low cost to free counselling in, I think, nearly 100 of the FRCs around the country. So people mightn't be aware of that.
No,
but
and that's available to anyone.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. So there's all different types of therapy. So there's like play therapy, there's equine therapy, there's CBT, relationship counselling, bereavement counselling. And then
I never knew that.
Yeah.
No, see, like there's so many services there that nobody's aware of.
Yeah, I know.
And what about in Westport? Is that available in Westport?
Yeah, they have a counselling service, in Westport, yeah.
So how would somebody listening to this and was like, okay, maybe their budget doesn't fit private practice. How would they avail of the services there?
So for Westport, you'd contact Westport Family Resource Centre. So you can either phone them or send them an email, and then they will do an assessment to see what type of counselling that you would need, because everyone is different, and you might go in with a preconceived idea what you need. And then if it's available, you'll start the counselling, and sometimes it's donation based. And other times it's just lower cost than what you would be paying privately. But they're all highly skilled, accredited counsellors. So you contact your local family resource centre. Like if you go onto the Family Resource Centre website, all the FRCs are listed. And as I said, there must be close to 100 of them offering therapy now.
Wow.
Yeah, it's amazing. So
and you said equine therapy.
Yeah, there is equine therapy, yeah.
Is that...
I'm not sure if it's available in Westport, but there is equine therapy with horses.
All right.
Yeah.
Horses are meant to be so in tune with humans.
Yeah. I haven't used it myself, but I would presume, that they are.
I've heard of a place up in Dublin, I think, that does equine therapy and for young kids with autism and stuff like that, where they go in and they can lie with the horse.
Exactly, yeah. All types of animals I think are really helpful for children like that.
So what other services would be available to, or what other things do you do with your job?
Depends on the day again. But I think it's really important that there's the gambling service as well. So across 23 family resource centres have gambling counselling available for those who are experiencing harmful gambling, but also for their family members. So there's a huge stigma around gambling in Irish society, and it's just one of those kind of insidious addictions that's so hidden yet so prevalent. So there's that service as well, and we would operate that nationally. And then, so there's just different mental health and wellbeing programs as well that we offer nationally in the Family Resource Centre National Forum. But other services in FRCs are look, if you want to go make a few friends as well, there's arts and craft groups. There's all different types of services. So it's not just I'm at a crisis point. It's actually, do you know what? I'd like to see what's going on in my community. So the Family Resource Centres offer that as well.
I never knew about any of this.
Yeah.
There you go now. Yeah, and oftentimes people have this idea, it's only people in need, or I'll be judged if I go in. To be honest, anyone can go into a family resource centre. You can go in and get your printing done.
But is it ever advertised? Is it though? I've never.
It is. I suppose it's one of those things that you don't know something is there until you're looking for it.
Yeah.
But so as I said, there's 121 of them around the country, and they all vary in different sizes. Some are absolutely massive. They have big childcare services, youth services, all different things. And then some are smaller, like Westport would be one of the smaller ones, but smaller doesn't mean that
useless.
there's less. There's loads of services and supports there. Yeah.
So when we were having a conversation before you decided to come on the podcast here, you told me that you were very passionate about suicide prevention. And that you've done a lot of work with that. So do you want to tell us a bit more about that? Because I think that is a really important topic.
Yeah, it is.
To spread awareness about.
Yeah. So again, it's within this work. We would partner with the National Office for Suicide Prevention, and we have suicide prevention training that's available to family resource centres, so across the country. And basically, it's just about, equipping people with the confidence to firstly not do anything. So ask the question straight out. If you are suspecting that someone is suicidal or has suicidal ideation, to ask them, and more times they will tell you the truth. So
what would be the signs that people could look out for?
The signs vary from person to person, but obviously, it's lower mood. They could be withdrawn. There's all different signs. And the thing is, every person is so different that sometimes it's hard to say, well, there were no signs. And, maybe there weren't.
And do you not hear stories then about people, how they were in great mood, flying form?
Yeah. So oftentimes, and the research would say that if someone has made the decision to take their own life, that they've made peace with it.
Oh, so that's why they're so content.
And they may have their plan and everything set up. So actually, if you have someone who actually has had suicidal ideation and then actually all of a sudden is in good form, that's actually one of the big red flags, is, why such a shift. Right.
Yeah. So they would have been in, say,
bad form why such a shift?
Okay.
Yeah. So that would be, they were, and you do hear that, they were in flying form, beforehand. You'd never have known, but maybe the weeks prior and the months prior, actually they were in a really low and dark place.
Yeah.
And look, the thing is that it's a spectrum. So you may not be suicidal today, but a life event could happen. You could lose someone you love, and you're go from here to over here, and then all of a sudden, you're experiencing suicidal ideation. So, we all have mental health. It's not and you need to work on it day to day. I would say that my training and everything keeps me mentally well, but everyone needs to find their own way of kind of keeping them on this end, So that training would help people kind of identify the signs, and then be able to have that conversation in a calm and confident way, and then be able to signpost the person on to the correct supports. But what I would say is if someone's like, oh, how do I kind of do my bit around preventing suicide? What I would say is actually do a training course on it. So there's some incredible ones. The HSE offer Assist. It's 2 days. It's free.
Anyone can do it.
Anyone can do it. And that is actually your best way of being like aware in your community to people who may be at risk of suicide, but also to be able to kind of confidently ask the question and be able to talk them down and get them the supports that they need. And people mightn't be aware of that, but there is some really good training programs there for it. I think everyone should do them, to be honest.
Yeah.
So is there like a few standardized things that you could kind of talk us through, like the journey of that here now?
As in like the
kind of protocol.
Yeah, like I suppose like it's...
I know the training program probably goes into more detail, but just to kind of give an outline maybe.
Yeah, I suppose the first thing is to like, so with this Safe Talk is probably the initial piece of training that some people would do. And it's really just about having the confidence to ask the question. So even that can be the hardest thing for someone to do. So it's asking, are you suicidal? And a person will tell you the truth and it's a yes or a no, you know. And maybe they might be saying, oh, I don't know. And you ask again, there's ways and means of having this conversation. And then it's about kind of sitting down with the person, shoulder to shoulder, showing that you care, actively listening. You're not doing all the talking. Sometimes people just want to talk and for someone to listen and just to tell you how they're feeling. So that would be the next thing, is just about being an active listener. And then it's around kind of then putting a plan in place to kind of get them the support that they need. So like, you know, if someone is at immediate risk, then obviously, you know, they need to go to the emergency services. But if someone kind of is just thinking about it, doesn't have an immediate plan and hasn't got the means, so the means could be a rope, it could be an overdose, it could be various different things. If they haven't kind of had that plan fully thought through, then maybe actually they need other types of supports. So it could be counselling. Every person is quite different and every scenario is so different, so it's hard to generalise. And then I suppose once they've been kind of supported, what's really important for people is, and this is a real whistle stop because obviously there's in-depth training around this, but it's to look after yourself. Because, you know, that can have an impact if someone you care about, one of your friends or your family, is experiencing this, that actually, you know, it can be a shock. You know, you might be, you know, worried. So you really need to kind of take the time to yourself and look after yourself in the aftermath of that as well. So that is a very, like a whistle stop. But as I said, there's incredible training out there. And like, if I could get anyone to do anything listening to this podcast, it would be, do you know what? Have a click on and see, is there any training courses? Some of them are only a couple hours long. And just to be aware and kind of have the confidence then to have that conversation with someone who may be, you know, suicidal.
Yeah, like it is a tricky situation, isn't it? And like, I know you said there about minding yourself, but if somebody was to confide in you, like that person that knows this information now, like not keeping it to themselves.
Yeah.
How did they deal with that in terms of if the person who is confided is like, I don't want you to tell anyone, but that can be really harmful then for the person that knows.
I think if you think someone is at immediate risk, you know, before, like, and it depends on the relationship you have with the person, but like, you know, as a professional, you would always say, look, if you're going to disclose to me that, you know, you're going to be a harm to yourself or to others, you know, I can't keep that confidential. And you can say that the same way as a friend, like, I care for you, I love you, you know, let's do this together, let's get you some help. Like, what is the point in asking the question if you're just going to do nothing? And if you don't have the confidence to, you know, to maybe, or don't have the knowledge of what to do next, share it with someone who does. Yeah. You know, so that would be my advice. Look, I'm not a mental health professional. No. But like as I said, we would work closely with the National Office for Suicide Prevention around some of this work. And I think the best thing you could do is to do something. Yeah. Yeah.
So then based on the work that the family resource programs do, is there anything that you feel like is underutilized in the community or that people would benefit more from, or that we need more awareness around something in particular or anything like that?
Yeah, like I think, so there's an incredible program called social prescribing. And what social prescribing is basically, you know, not everyone who goes to a GP with mental health issues actually needs medication. So, and Kieran, you could probably see this, you know, some of the people coming in through the doors here, like doing physical activity has such an improvement on their health and well-being. But oftentimes when people are going through a depression or mental health struggles, they'll go to the GP and sometimes they'll get prescribed medication. And look, there's a place for medication. I'm not saying that at all. But other times there's a place for other things. So there's an incredible program. It's in many FRCs around the country and other community development programs, and it's called social prescribing. So basically what this is you could go to your GP or a primary health care. It could be your local PT, and you know, you say to them, I'm not feeling great, and they actually refer you to a social prescriber. And then the social prescriber sits down and meets with you. And I suppose the beauty of social prescribing is if you go to a healthcare professional, they're on the clock. They have a couple of minutes. A 15-minute, I think all a GP is a max they can see you for. So they don't have the time. And actually, I'd argue that they don't actually have the knowledge around some of this stuff as well. And they're very symptom focused. So the social prescriber will sit down with you, give you an hour and say, what matters to you? What do you love? What kind of things did you used to bring you joy? What's going on in your life? Where do you think you need help with? So, and it kind of pulls out, you know, some of the pieces of why you may be going through this tough time. Some people need support with finances. You know, it could be housing. So like if you don't have a house, of course your mental health is going to take a battering. You know, so they try to help you map out, okay, how could I kind of work through this? So they can have between 6 and 8 sessions with this social prescriber. They can meet you on a weekly basis. They can meet you on a bi-weekly basis. It's all dependent on you. But also then they help you map out within your local community all the supports and services that you can tap into.
That's great. So they give you they'll kind of give you a roadmap just to kind of get back on track again.
It's incredible. And actually, again, it's, you know, it's no cost to the person, to the individual. And yet it's really coming from a place of like strength for them. So it's what matters to them, basically. There's no point in a social prescriber thinking, I think you should go down to yoga. And the person's thinking, I bloody hate yoga.
Yeah.
So you sit and listen to the person. What do you like to do? You know. That's
a lot of the problem, though, I find as well with people that are struggling with their mental health. They're not doing things that they love. Like it's very unusual that you'll see someone struggling that are doing something they love, you don't. It's when you kind of just go into yourself and you're not doing what you want to do, or you're doing stuff that other people want you to do. Yeah, that's I find that's what I see. Anyways, I don't know. That's just my perception of it.
You're on the money. Honest to God, I even think of myself when I was at my lowest. It was when I couldn't go to the gym. The gyms were closed for COVID. Yeah. Like that was my coping mechanism. And like it's the same for anyone. Like if you can't do the things you love because of certain situations that you find yourself in, of course you're going to feel like crap. Of course everything is going to feel like it's on top of you. So I think, you know, the social prescribing is just magic when it works. Like, you know, and people just really they come back to who they were.
Yeah. So do you find that it's an older age category of people that are using this, or does it vary? It probably varies, but do you have any, let's say, like studies or just like information of, it tends to be this type of age group that are looking for this service?
Have you done your homework on this? Yeah, there is certain cohorts of people. I think it's changed over the last number of years. It's around definitely over 10 years, but people just didn't know about it. So it was older people, because older people tend to be more isolated and they experience loneliness. But actually over the last number of years, it's really like it's over 18s that it's open to. And they're actually trying to introduce it for youths at the moment.
I wonder, is there any way we could get it marketed in like maybe in here, like is there posters or stuff we could put up like that could maybe make people who come to the gym aware of it?
And there's actually a service in Castlebar that's running social prescribing. So like it's only over the road. Westport I don't think they have one at the moment. Yeah. But they take people from all over.
Yeah,
I
and
can
like someone might just see it on the wall, and like they don't have to like tell us about it.
Yeah.
Maybe they might just see it and want to go and
100%. Yeah,
might be worth looking into.
Yeah, and it's for everyone. Like, and it's like, you know, sometimes it's the single mother who's struggling, you know, like with the children, and their confidence has been, you know, shot down, and then they have this new world open up to them that they didn't know was even possible.
But even like you said there, when your mother died, you didn't know anybody who also lost their mother. So in some ways you were isolated there.
Totally.
And as we get older, you know, you move out of school, you're not hanging around with your friends anymore, and you get older and people move on with their own lives, and you do disconnect from people, and your likes and your values and everything change. And like you said earlier, you start to lose people as well. So I think it is a big thing as you get older that it is harder to make friends or to find your people. Totally. And we could all benefit from knowing about these different things that's going on. Yeah.
And can you imagine, like, if you didn't have the technology, or, you know, so like it's just as you're like the older cohort of people, they mightn't have had the means of knowing where to find out things were happening. Yeah. But really, it's open to everyone. Like, you know, I could have done with it myself at one point. You know,
we all could have.
Yeah. And you'd be surprised what's available in your local community. And like a lot of the services and supports that they're showing people are low cost to no cost, because they don't want people feeling, oh, sure, I can't sign up for this yoga. Like, it's going to cost me, you know, €100 or whatever. So like there's other things that like are available that don't actually cost money that'll really help people's health and well-being. Yeah.
Yeah. I think like phones are great, but they have taken over, and then you don't actually know what's going on around you.
I know.
Like that, like we had no idea what was actually available in the Family Resource Centre because we weren't actually looking for it.
Yeah.
And it's the same with looking for like activities to do. It's like we don't even, where do you even go to figure out what's on? But now you said like that the social prescribing obviously are aware of what's available in the certain communities.
I'm going to be honest now, I don't even know where the Family Resource Centre is in Westport.
It's on Fairgreen.
On the Fairgreen, and it's there forever.
I honestly,
Burke's Waste used to be above it.
And Burry's next door.
In the office, upstairs.
Okay, right,
yeah. It's a little small but mighty. You'd be surprised what goes on. So it looks small from the front, but actually it goes back quite a bit. And as I said, there's all different types of things going on. Yeah, it's incredible, honest to God. And
it really is.
I think that's why I'm so passionate about the work as well, is, you know, I can see the impacts it can have on an individual.
Have you seen firsthand some really transformative stuff? Like,
yeah, I have. Yeah, so I would have coordinated 10 social prescribing sites down in Cork and Kerry. So there'd be 10 link workers down there, and I would have supported them and helped them get set up. And honest to God, some of the testimonials, like life-changing stuff.
Really, yeah.
Yeah, it really is. Yeah. So
yeah, that is a powerful resource for people.
Yeah, I think it's just, again, meeting the right person at the right time and feel like you're being listened to is so important. People do too much of this and they don't do enough of listening. And that's what a social prescriber does, is they actually listen to the person. And yeah, like people have gone from being absolutely in the depths of depression, anxiety, all different things going on, to their whole world being opened up. And as I said, like it's complementary. Sometimes medication is there for people, but also there's so many other things that are there to support you to feel better.
You should definitely try the other stuff, like have the medication as last resort. Like, you know, try everything like that there. Try all that first, and then
I think that's the way it's. I agree. Yeah. I think so.
Yeah, amazing. Jesus, we'll have to. We'll definitely put some of those things into the show notes of the podcast. And anyone who listens to this, like, they will get great value from that, because like that, there's so many people struggling that you just don't know. And even if one person benefited from this today, I'm sure there's going to be a lot more people that will benefit. But even one person, it's like you're changing one person's life, and that can have a ripple effect into so many more. So
definitely.
Yeah, thank you for sharing all of that information that we were totally oblivious to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tell us as well, before we go any further, share with us, tell us about your bodybuilding competition.
Oh.
That you won.
Yeah.
Did you win it?
Yes, yeah.
What class were you in?
Toned figure. So I was Miss Toned Figure 2018.
Go on. How did you find the cut for that?
Do you know
Go
what?
in depth here now. Tell us the whole.
Yeah. Look, I was training for years, and like that Andrew I used to, as I did athletics and everything, and then I went and did a degree in physiology, and I think I told you there recently, I never once went to the gym during that 4 years of college. Which is shocking.
Yeah.
Absolutely shocking. So I totally kind of lost the graw for health and fitness. And then when I met Andrew, I was like, oh, he is on my page. Actually, one of our first dates was to the gym and a swim.
Go away.
But anyways, so we were training for years, and I kind of just was like, do you know what? I'm going to give this a go. So I didn't just jump into it. I was building for a couple of years, because you obviously need a good bit of muscle. The building is the fun part. You're eating all around you and training really hard and getting so strong, and I just loved it. And then obviously I did a cut. So yeah, I think it was 20 weeks. So it started January, and I think it was the May bank holiday that in 2018 that the competition was on. So look, yeah, I started off kind of on decent enough calories. You'd be training 5 days a week, and then you'd be doing morning cardio. So again, Andrew being the most supportive person ever, he actually did the whole cut with me as well.
Stop. Where, like, he is just a different breed of man, yeah.
And no intention of ever going up on stage or anything. He's like, sure, look, I'll do it with you. But like, he wasn't going to be competing. So he'd get up every morning with me, we'd do our cardio, and then like I'd train in the evening while he'd be at work. And yeah, so it was flat out. But like, it was a challenge. Like, and I think anyone who does it year on year, fair play. I loved it. But like, you're hungry.
How low did they get, the calories?
Jesus.
I know it's probably not the best.
Yeah. Go on. I'll tell you.
You went down to 800, did you?
No, I think it was like 950.
Okay.
And that was probably in the final 2 weeks. But like, bearing in mind, I was training 5 weight sessions a week. And then towards the end, it was 2 cardio sessions a day. So one would be in the morning, it'd be LISS, low intensity, steady state. And then in the evening, it could be on the Stairmaster for 30, 40 minutes or like whatever.
Can I ask, did you lose your period?
Yes, I did. Yeah. For about 3 months, I think it was. But that was, it was kind of the months before I competed, and then didn't come back for 2 months afterwards. Sure, I was tiny.
950 calories. I'd eat that in a meal, like.
I know, it's a sin, isn't it?
How did you break that up throughout the day?
Oh, sure.
Like,
very easily. There was nothing to eat.
Yeah, but that's what I mean. Like, what were your meals?
How did you spread it out to last the day more? Like,
that's what I mean. Like, like 900. Like,
were you drinking like 5-6 liters of water a day?
You'd be drinking definitely 4 anyways, 3 or 4, and loads of coffee. Like, Jesus, I can only have 2 cups of coffee now, 3, and I'm on a different planet. Whereas back then, I'd be having Monster, coffee, whatever, just to kind of get you through the day. And like, as enjoyable as it was, I remember I was in the job I'm in now, I was presenting actually on the suicide prevention work at a national conference. And I remember it was a few weeks out from the competition, and I didn't tell anyone that I was doing this at work. Now, they must have think, what's going on with your one? She's skin and bone.
She's gaunt looking.
But I remember there was a big banquet at lunch, and I had to sit in the room. I couldn't go near the food. If I went in there, I'd eat all around me. So I was so miserable. I had the piece of chicken and the few bits of asparagus, and I was sitting eating on my own. And I remember a person coming into the room saying, why aren't you out eating all the food? And I was like, oh, I'm just getting ready for presenting now in a little while. And I remember, like, your whole concentration is completely gone. Gone. So, like, I really had to focus for that. And, like, as much as I really enjoyed the journey of prep and absolutely, like, smashing it, I gave it my all. I think afterwards you're thinking, well, like, your trophy's amazing, but actually, not being able to function properly is not good either.
How did you find reversing? Did you go straight back up, blah, 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 blah. Did you go... Did you come straight? Did you bring your calories straight back up?
Oh,
did you have the typical post-show binge and all that?
Come here, they say, oh, we'll reverse you out. The only thing I reversed into is a bag of cookies.
With ice cream heated.
Yeah, and I think because I'd won as well, I was like, mic drop. I was like, I'm done. I had all good intentions, and I had a plan in place, being like, oh, so like next week you'll eat this amount. Honest to God.
You're just like the floodgates opened.
Go through the day of eating. I'm blown away by 950 calories. Like, go through the day of eating of what you ate in a 950
We are not
day,
advising this, people.
No,
just down the camera.
Oh God, I can't remember. It's about
breakfast, lunch.
Yeah, sure. Look, what would you be eating? I remember
Leaf lettuce, tomato.
Yeah, it was a lot of very like plain food, you know. So it would be like chicken,
egg white,
fish and a rice cake.
Fish and a rice cake.
Yeah.
He's back on the scene, you know.
I know,
He's got
yeah.
a million over
Yeah.
a million followers.
Yeah. No, it wasn't as bad as that. Like, but it was, you know, really like clean.
Chicken and broccoli.
Bit of dark chocolate. I think oats even is cut out towards the end.
Yeah, they're too high in
Are
carbs.
you measuring water intake as well? And
Sodium. Were you doing sodium intake?
That is on the peak week, yeah, you do. Like, you have to kind of take diuretics and like flush the body out.
Yeah.
But yeah, like it's very basic food. I can't actually remember, to be honest, but like Greek yogurt, chicken, broccoli.
Yeah, but it's just very small portions of
Very
that.
small. Like, and you bulk up with lettuce and tomatoes and cucumber. And like, one of my biggest tips was, this is so miserable.
Cauliflower rice. Were you eating
No, I didn't
cauliflower
go have that, but I used to get a half a courgette and grate it into my oats, and it would double the size of them.
Yeah, I've heard people doing that. Yeah,
now I wouldn't do that now if I was paid. But like it was a means to an end. Like, that's the thing. It was like, okay, you set yourself a goal. You're either going to do it or you're not. So you go all in. If you want to do well, you have to. So I was willing to do that, and I did it.
Did you get any body image problems afterwards?
Yeah, like I think I did, and at the time I was like, I don't have body image issues.
Par for the course, I think, really, isn't it? When you go from being so ripped to not.
Yeah. Well, I have a memory when I knew, okay, this is pathetic, really. But so 2 weeks after competing, or it could have just been a week after, we went to Lisbon. Andrew's like, getting you away. And Lisbon and the pastries, insane. I had about 5 in a row. But anyways, was on the beach. We went just to a beach outside Lisbon. And I mean, I was in incredible shape. If I could have that body now, I'd be like, wow. But I remember being so, in a bikini, so self-conscious on the beach, being like, oh God, like pulling at myself and everything. And it wasn't at the time, I was like, I didn't think about it, but it was like a few months later being like, how sad was that? You know, and I nearly ruined my own trip to Lisbon. But it was just that moment always stays in my mind, being like, God, you were tiny. Like
But did you feel like you lost your period for 3 months? Like, physically, yes, you might have looked amazing, but did you feel amazing?
No, you feel like shite.
Yeah,
you feel crap. Yeah, towards the end. Like, and maybe it was just me, but I've had other friends who've competed, and like, you're exhausted.
You're like, sure, how could you have energy when you're on 950 calories?
Yeah, pure exhausted, and just kind of like, get me through this. But then when it comes towards the final week or so, you're like, you can see it. You have to visualize, you know, you're in the zone. So like, you know, I'm sure you've, like, with competitions, you can see the end goal and you visualize it all. And like, it was great. And the day was incredible. And I loved being up on stage. And I always thought I'd do it again. But do you know what? Afterwards, my mum got very sick. And I thought, do you know what? There's more to life than being hungry for me. Yeah. And also then I was like, my training style changed. So I just wanted to be kind of more.
Did you ever think you were going to win it? Or was that just... Were you going in with that mindset, I'm going to try and win this here now?
Yeah.
Or were you just going in to compete?
No.
She was going to take them down.
And the thing is, I do kind of like, I always think, oh, like, you have to give it your all. Like, if you're not going in to win, why are you doing it?
Participation.
Yeah.
You're going into fucking murder people. Bitch, I'm going to take you down.
I'm so competitive, but competitive doesn't mean you're good at something. So I've learned that the hard way. Yeah. But I really enjoyed that. Yeah. So I did. I went in to try and win.
Oh, yeah, fair enough.
Yeah. But like, I was shocked though, to be honest, but it was great.
Fair play.
But afterwards you're like, oh, what was that all for? Yeah.
Gavin is here looking at me being like, guys, it's time to wrap up.
Oh, Gavin.
Yeah.
I've talked too
Shauna,
much.
this has been so enjoyable. If Gavin wasn't giving out here, we'd talk for another while.
Sack Gavin.
Yeah, sack Gavin. Yeah. Thank you so much for joining us today. It's been a really enjoyable conversation. And like that, you've been you've been through the mill, you've been through your hard times, but you're constantly showing up and showing your resilience and showing your strength.
Thank you.
So well done. And speaking of strength, tell people, for this small little girlie here, she's able to overhead squat like 75 kilos or something?
70, yeah.
That's insane.
Yeah. More to come.
Yeah.
That's it.
Anyway, thank you so much, Shauna, for being here.
Thank you. Thanks so much.
Guys, thank you so much for watching or for listening, and please tell us in the comments what you thought of this episode. Make sure you like, share, subscribe, because that helps us get more excellent guests like Shauna here today, and we'll see you in the next one.
See you in the next one.
Thank you.